was the apparition of a relative coming to let me know that my mother had passed away. And that's, why under the circumstances and under those conditions, I basically didn't have the response that most people would, which is, oh my God, it's a ghost, blah, blah, blah. What is he? And I was like, okay, are you here to tell me that my mom is died of cancer? Are you here to tell me that, this is my girlfriend, who was a flight attendant, had a problem with her trip in Europe? And it was like, oh wow. So he was there pointing towards the property next door, but at the time I attributed it that he was pointing towards the driveway going down the street, only to find out 8 years later that what he was pointing to was the property next door, which was sold, and they decided to build a house there. And unlike every other house on the block here that's built on a hillside, and for that matter, most hillside homes that are built on a step foundation, which is literally what it sounds like, you put in caissons into the side of the hill, going down into bedrock. You then pour concrete, and you create a step foundation, which is like big steps that you then put your wood and your framing on, and you build it up from there. These people went extremely off the mark and decided to remove 80 foot of street frontage going down the driveway, and went down 60 feet down the side of the hill straight, and clear cut the entire mountain out. So they put up a 60-foot retaining wall reinforced with a bunch of caissons, these concrete piles dug deep into the bedrock, and then put a concrete flat slab on the side of where would be the side of the hill, but it was all removed, and built the house out of the excavated area of the mountain, which was so traumatic and had such an impact on my house that it made sense only later on when I said, oh my God, they're literally removing the entire hillside. And then it's like, oh my God, Sebring wasn't pointing towards the goddamn driveway. He was pointing towards the property next door 8 years before ground was broken and before the property was even sold.
Mm.
And he did not look like he was all beaten up and like he was a rotting corpse, nor did he look like the way he did when he died, nor was he wearing the clothes that he was wearing when he died, which in one fell experience basically changed my whole perception about the paranormal and about every single myth that has been propagated and promoted about the paranormal 110%, because I started to realize that, look, this experience is not unique, and his appearance was not unique. That's the way the spirits really appear, and a lot of the myths that we have created about spirits, about, be careful what you wear out today, and if you die, you're going to be wearing that for eternity.
Right.
And then, of course, the one, how you die is how you're going to look for eternity as well. I almost feel like George Carlin when he makes these comments. It must be channeling George. Right. Yes, that's right. It's George. What the hell's the matter with you people? You're all fed up with these BS stories and myths. I'm here to tell you the truth. No, it's that simple. It's not like we've overcomplicated the rational experience of the paranormal. And I don't know why we have, but as humans, from my experiences, we've all made this a jacked up pile of crap. It's not anything what we really think it is. Furthermore, I'm not saying that I have the answers, but I have a lot of the answers to a lot of the myths that we think we know so much about, that we hold so dear and near to our hearts, that are absolutely full of crap and don't have any basis in truth.
Right.
And that's my personal,
I couldn't agree with you more. Have you ever checked the history of your house? Has there ever been other deaths in your house, or any other famous people lived in your house?
There was nothing here before my father and I built the house. We were the first people to actually put a foundation and a piece of a home on this property. There was nothing ever here before we built it. This was virgin land.
Okay. Now, have you ever been touched by a spirit in your home?
Others have, luckily. The little bastards. Yes, well, I'm serious, because, look, it took 7 years for the I'm sorry, I won't call you that. I apologize. I swear, I'll say it in a kind of voice. I apologize, spirits. I didn't mean to be insulting. Sorry. It took them 7 years to finally get around to turning on the faucets in front of me And they had done that for my friend. What was that? I forgot. It's in my book. It happened to him like 10 years ago, maybe 11 years ago, and I was really like, that's cracked. I said, you went into the bathroom. He goes, I had to go to the bathroom. He runs into the bathroom on the top floor. He goes and he turns around. He starts taking a leak. And all of a sudden he says to me, I hear water running. The sound of water just starts going out of nowhere, just going, shh. I said, what the hell do you mean? He goes, I turn around over my shoulder and look, and he goes, both the hot and the cold faucets are turned on. I said, what did you do? I zipped up. I thought it was done. I don't know if I was finished even. I felt so scared. I zipped myself up and I ran the hell. I said, I didn't zip myself up, and I ran the hell out of there. I said, well, zip your pants up. God. I said, do you have to go? He goes, I think I got it all out. I said, but it just scared the crap out of me. And I said, you lucky bastard. I said, you lucky son of a, And people go, how can you say that? I said, because I'm not afraid of this stuff. It's not a matter of bravado and, he's full of that. It's like, no, I just have never, I kind of flipped the switch. How many years ago now? Jesus Christ. 15 years ago when my mother died. God, it'll be 16 years this March. No, 16 years this March. When my mother passed away, and I actually went to see, I was literally called 10 minutes after, 5 seconds after she died. My dad said, your mom died, and I ran to the house that I grew up in, and she's sitting there in bed at 7 o'clock at night. I got there, maybe 10 after 7, and the whole house was illuminated with candles. And apparently, my dad said, the second that your mother died, all the power cut out. He didn't know it, but the power didn't cut out in his house. It cut out in all of West Los Angeles. I kid you not. You can look this up. It's on the books. And
wow.
I was like, what the hell do you mean the power went out? And she's sitting there sitting in bed, literally frozen, like a mannequin, like a wax figure. And she's leaning forward with her hand. I'll never forget, her right hand was stuck out, was extended, and her fingers were like pointing, and she was like, with her mouth a little agape, and her left arm was like it was a little bit like in moving forward, and it was like that. And I was like, what the fuck? He goes, yeah, your mom had a heart attack. And I said, you're kidding me. He said, and it turns out the anti-cancer pancreatic medicine that she was on basically took its toll on, has a tendency to be a little bit rough on people's hearts. And what was ironic was she had just left the heart doctor that earlier the afternoon, like a couple of hours earlier, and had a fine, clear checkup. So,
wow.
It was like, so I sat there and I looked at her and I started I touched her and she was cold like ice. It was just cold, and I felt no life. And I said, and I'm looking at the woman that I know as my mother, and I'm thinking to myself, that's it. I said, all of my fears of the dark, of ghosts, of zombies, of anything, of whatever was left after I'd been living here for 2 years, was all washed away in that instance. And I realized what she had always told me was, she goes, when you're dead, you're dead. She goes, you ain't coming back, and your body's not coming back. So zombies and vampires and all that stuff is a hokey-pokey bunch of bull crap. So stop thinking about that and being afraid of that. The things that she used to tell me about how much she missed her sister who had died earlier, and years earlier and stuff. And it just became clear that that's it. That's it. All of your fears of the dark and this stuff. This is what it comes down to. She says, when you're dead, you're dead. That's it. And it just made everything so clear about my experiences here. And after that, I totally didn't change my perception. It just became clearer. It became very, 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 very clear to me that what are we afraid of? We're all going to pass from this gosh darn mortal coil, to quote Shakespeare. To be afraid of that which is unknown is the fear of the unknown. But to attribute a multitude of things to it just because that's how we cope with it, make no mistake about it. That's a human being's frailty of not being able to accept and to deal with it, and to go beyond it. They always have to kind of find an answer, and we're never satisfied, and we always have to come to the decision, that we can't let it go. We can't just leave it alone. We can't accept it. We have to figure it out. And that's one thing I will be here to tell you, that the answers to what happens when you die will remain that which will never be answered. They will remain the world's oldest questions, because we are not to know what happens. We can think, we can hypothesize, whatever, but from what I've experienced, everybody that's come in here with their theories has washed right through, and a lot of them have not, how should we say, managed the test of time, and haven't managed the test of what I've experienced.
Right, and plus, you've obviously probably become numb over the years of all that stuff. You see it all the time and experience it. You must have some visitors or friends come over, and you must have a few of them maybe got scared and run out of the house before.
Oh yeah, I've had a few people that have come to the house that have literally have been downstairs watching my movie in the theater room, and then like 10 minutes later, I came upstairs to get things for them to drink because they were thirsty, and literally like a few minutes later, it's like I hear the footsteps bump, 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 up the staircase. I'm like, what the heck? I said, the movie got stuck or something? And they walk right past me in the kitchen and walk right out the front door and go out, and it's like, wait a second, wait, you didn't even say. So I had to run outside for this one individual that I'm speaking of, and I said, what happened? He goes, and this is, I'm relating what he said. I looked at him, and he said, I don't knocked on his windows. He's getting in, he's got his car starting, and he's sitting there in the driveway, and I was like, what? I said, what's going on? He goes, I don't know what to say. I was down there watching the movie. You went upstairs to get me my drink, and all of a sudden I started feeling fingers running through my hair, and then up and down my back. I felt somebody like touching me. I said, "Oh," and I said, "Tell me something." I said, "Who do you know that?" I said, "Who do you know that died in the past couple of years?" And then I started hearing something. I said, "You had two friends." And then I said, "No, you had two friends of yours that died over the past couple of years, didn't you?" And I just started spouting off this commentary. And he goes, "How did you know?" It's like, "Oh, and one of them died apparently in a hiking accident, falling off one of the mountains he was trying to scale with his lanyard. Basically, his rope thing, the secured anchor, popped, and he went down the thing like 50 or 100 feet and died and was killed at the bottom." And he looked at me; his eyes got wide, and he goes, "How did you?" And I said, "Wait a second." I said, "Wait, by the way," I said, "the other guy was killed in a car accident." And he looked at me and goes, how did you know any of that? I just met you a couple, you were introduced by another. I was like, "Look, I don't know, but I just heard that." And I said, "That's who the heck was messing with you." And he looked at me and goes, "I don't know how you knew that." He said, "Well, regardless of how I knew it, it is true, isn't it?" And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I don't know who you are from Adam," but I said, "I just told you what I heard." And I said, "That's who was messing with you." And that was it. And so he still left. But, that's just one of the examples of some of the stuff that's happened here with the visitors and the guests. And I don't know where it's coming from. I just heard the information. I go, "Hey, this is what I heard, and this is for you." And he goes, "Yeah." And by the way, I found that video that I've got, so I'm going to play this little clip for you. And I hope I queued it up right. Let me turn the volume up, and let's run with this.
I've always had some very weird, creepy experiences about three. I've always had some very weird, creepy experiences about.
Did you guys hear that?
I can hear something in the background sound like somebody saying. I couldn't quite make it out, but I can hear them saying something. What are they saying?
Here's one. Here, let me do it again.
About three. I've always had some very weird, creepy experiences. About three weird, creepy experiences. About three.
Could you hear that?
Yeah, I could hear it sound like a woman almost saying manslaughter or something. I can't quite make it out.
A little girl. On this end, it's a little girl saying, "Here's one, here's one, here's one."
Yeah.
And it's uncanny because he was not doing an investigation. He was covering the Poltergeist DVD Blu-ray release event here at the house 4 years ago, and his friend was using the camcorder and video. He was basically videotaping this on a camcorder. And later
David,
on in review, he found that.
Hold on, David. We got to take a commercial break.
Sure.
We'll be right back. Hang on.
All right.